How's everybody doing? For those that don't know me, my name is Wayne Singbill. I don't really know how to start this, so I'm just going to give you a brief overview of my life. I was born in Trail, BC, brought up in Dryden, Ontario, and I kind of became a born-again Westerner in 1977 when I moved back west and started working at the pulp mill across the street. I was here in Hinton 42 years ago. I met my future wife, Billy, and together we bought a house, raised 2 kids, retired, and now are enjoying our golden years with our 4 grandchildren. Wendy cornered me the other day and asked me to share the story of the night I got to know Jesus. When I was just a little guy, I wanted to be like Jesus when I grew up. I liked how he helped people. My mom was a Sunday school super. That kind of meant that we were the first at church and the last to leave church every Sunday. I learned how to be a servant at a very young age. Actually, I don't have very many memories of being a child when I was growing up. You see, I had a brother, Douglas, who drowned when I was 9, and so I blacked out most of my childhood memories. But one memory I do have is buying this picture of Jesus with my own money as a child. That's kind of cool. So in my head, I've always known that Jesus has loved me. The part I struggled with was that God wanted to have a relationship with me. I kept putting that off. I know it's not like this for everybody, but I can recall the exact moment when I gave my yes to Jesus. It was a Saturday night in May 1996 at a Getting to Know Jesus weekend held here in Hinton. It's been said that the gospel is so simple that even a child can understand it, yet so profound that the greatest scholar cannot plumb its depths. What must we do to be saved? Believe in Jesus, Acts 16:31. How can we become children of God? Believe and receive Jesus, John 1:12. Now, that sounds also simple, but it took me 44 years before I clued in. How come some of us are so slow to the obvious? Better yet, why does God even bother with us? The only conclusion I can come up with is that God must really like us. Ever since Wendy asked me to share the moment when I gave my yes to Jesus, I've had all kinds of memories and flashbacks of that time in my life, and I wrote a few of them down. At my place of work, there was this Anglican lady named Betty who kept asking me to go to one of these Catholic retreats. She kind of wore me down, and I finally said yes. What attracted me to Betty, though, was there was something different about her and her relationship with Jesus. She definitely had something I didn't have, and so I said to myself, Self, maybe we ought to go and check this thing out. About the same time, I was attending a Bible study out at Brule at a home church there. Every time I went, there was this crazy Baptist lady there who would confront me and say, Wayne, are you saved yet? Every time we met, she would say, Wayne, are you saved yet? I won't share what I was thinking, but let's just say it wasn't very godlike. So I went to this retreat. I was 44 at the time. I was a good person. I was even teaching Sunday school at the church I was attending. Yes, I knew Jesus in my head, but up to that moment, I hadn't yet invited him into my heart. It had been more and more obvious to me that I'd become one of those guys. You know, one of those guys that had all the information they needed to make their decision to follow Christ, but kept putting it off. That particular weekend, I felt God's presence. I remember at one meal looking at the placemat in front of me and reading Psalm 34:8. Taste and see that the Lord is good. I felt as if Jesus was saying to me, Wayne, just take a chance. Just take a chance. Another time during the weekend, there was this simple poster on the wall with a man raising his hands in worship to God. And I thought to myself, I want to be that kind of man. I kind of laugh about it now, but do you know what the number one reason I never said yes to Jesus before that night? I liked who I was, and I heard a rumor that God just might change you. I guess all of us can come up with some kind of lame excuse for not making a commitment. Back then, that was mine. That Saturday night, 25 years ago, I finally got around to saying yes to God and surrendering my life to Jesus. I said something like this to Jesus: Lord, I know I'm a sinner. I know I've been running from you. I know you love me. I know that you came to die for me that I might have a relationship with you. I want that relationship, Lord. I give up my pride. I surrender my life to you. I want you to be my personal Savior. I'm going to take a chance on you. As I was writing these words, I thought to myself, my story kind of sounds like that old ABBA song, Take a Chance on Me. Never mind. Honestly, I felt the love of God wash over me after praying that prayer. You know what? I don't know who was happier, him or me. On the inside, I was crying and laughing all at the same time. I've never felt so much joy in all my life. As I've already told you, I was always afraid that God would change me. What I discovered since surrendering to him that night is God doesn't so much change us as he uses us the way we are. Me, I've always been a sharer. Guess how God wanted to use me. He wants me to share my God stories, and so I'm doing that today. Just to let you know, though, God doesn't reveal everything to us all at once. It's more like one step at a time with our walk with him. I kind of believe that you call that a relationship. I'm going to share with you one last story. Right after the retreat, I shared my Saturday night experience with some people, and they asked me this question: don't you wish that God would have helped you make that decision earlier than the age of 44? I responded, no, I see God's perfect timing in all of this. Jesus waited until I was ready. He never once gave up on me. He waited until I was ready. He didn't force me into that decision. I made it on my own. And now I've become one of the redeemed. Listen, I've been given 5 minutes to share this story. And if you know me, you know what a challenge it is to keep this talk under 5 minutes. So in closing, I'd like to thank the Lord for this opportunity. I'd like to thank you for listening. And lastly, I'd like to remind everyone, your God story is yours alone. Treasure it, keep it close to your heart. You've heard mine, part of mine. I'd like to hear yours. Okay?